So Rainbow Six Siege has a lot of lore to it. If you've been keeping up on my channel this whole time, you've probably seen a lot of it and are up to date. However, over the past few years, Ubisoft have been telling a little story in the background using the imagery of chess. And this story is still prevailing now in the current season I'm recording this, Operation New Blood, and I can imagine will continue to go in the future, giving us some hints to where this story may potentially go and what is truly happening. If you haven't seen my entire lore video, I recommend watching that first. However, I will explain all relevant information, which is required to know for this hidden lore in which I have found. So before we continue, hit that like button if you do enjoy, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into this. So if you're not familiar with chess, there are 6 different pieces. You have a king, queen, bishop, knight, rook, and pawn, all of which have their different attributes and strengths, with a win only occurring once an opponent's king is checkmated. And now this little hidden lore begins with the trailer for Operation Solar Raid, with the introduction of Solis. This was around the time that Rainbow learned that Nighthaven were not responsible for the assassination of Yahata, and they're about to get their first glimpse of Deimos and the Kure's Legion. And in this trailer for Solis, we can see a chessboard with her picking up the Black Queen and doing a motion of somewhat crushing it. And what we go on to learn further is that the black pieces do represent Deimos and the Kure's Legion and this opposing side to Rainbow. You could interpret it as the Queen originally being represented for Nighthaven, but now that they know they're innocent is being removed off the board, or it could be another figure we don't know yet. And not long after this, we would have the reveal of Deimos, who would appear from the shadows and confront Rainbow's leader Harry. And I want you to take note of something right now. Look at the colors they are wearing. Harry is wearing a plain white t-shirt and Deimos is in full black attire. And by the end of this cinematic, as you may know, Deimos kills Harry. Now you're probably wondering right now, what relevance does this have? Well, when we got access to the map layer, which is the base of Deimos and the Kure's Legion, going into Deimos's office, we can see a chessboard on his desk with 2 pieces. A black king who has taken out a white queen. When comparing this to Deimos's confrontation with Harry, there is some very clear imagery here. Deimos is the black king and Harry is the white queen who has just been taken out by him. Hence the importance of Harry wearing a white shirt during this confrontation. Now, with the rules of chess, although the queen has been taken out, in this case Harry, the game is not over yet as Rainbow still has a king standing, which we can believe to be our operators, all of our squads. The unit as a whole is the White King, and they currently remain standing. Now, so far I've mentioned kings and queens. We've established that Harry is the White Queen, and the rest of Rainbow is the White King. Deimos seems to be the Black King, and who the Black Queen is, we are yet to see. However, it also seems that there are more chess pieces in play here. One of the most obvious chess pieces here is Rook, who also is the alias of one of our operatives. And this isn't just a coincidence, he is going to come into play in a minute. And of course, I feel like I should mention the protagonist from Rainbow Six Vegas 2, Bishop. And although that plays no further part of the minute, I feel like I should still mention him. As well as this, Knight also appears in Rainbow Six Vegas 2 as well, but isn't as important as Bishop. So moving along forward into the lore, we have the attack on Emerald Plains. Deimos, the Black King, initiates an attack on Emerald Plains, with one of the operators holding the position, Rook. And if you've seen this cinematic, you may know that the person who takes out Deimos and immobilizes him for them to then take him into custody was Rook. You could say that Rainbow's White Rook checkmated the opposing Black King. The entire definition of checkmate means that there is no escape for the king. This was extremely subtle by Ubisoft, and when I finally figured all of this out, I gotta say, it impressed me. So Deimos is now in Rainbow's custody, and we move into Operation New Blood, a season focused on Rainbow's training and the recruits. And this is when the chess imagery continues. To begin with, there is a charm in the battle pass when referring to the recruits, which are pawns. Pawns, being the most abundant on the board, are also at the front of the attack and defense, have limited movement, and are by all regards the bottom of the chopping order for chess pieces. And in comparison with our operators compared to the recruits, which are the strikers and sentries, the same can be seen. This trend also continues if you look at the ranked rewards for this season, which begin with a pawn making its way all the way to the top. However, the most important thing which flips this piece of hidden story on its head is in this battle pass, there is now a theme of not only a chessboard, but a Trojan horse to go alongside of it. Now, the Trojan horse is from Greek mythology. Greece once again appearing in Rainbow Six Siege lore, and we'll get more into that in a different video. But the story goes that the Greeks constructed a giant wooden horse and hid soldiers in the inside of it. The Trojans would then bring it into their city as a war trophy, not knowing that there were secretly soldiers inside. Then, when night fell, these Greek soldiers would emerge from the horse, destroying the city and ending the war. And if we look at the events which happen in Rainbow Six Siege lore at this time, Deimos has just been taken inside of Rainbow's custody, something which can easily be compared to a Trojan horse situation. Now, not only could this correlation be made with Deimos, it could also be made with the recruits as well. We have the showcase of many pawns this season being the recruits, as well as some Trojan horses. There could be some implications that some recruits are secretly bad and have infiltrated the inside. Not even that, potentially some Rainbow operatives. I don't have any concrete evidence of any operatives being like this. However, I will mention the last operative we've seen holding the Black Queen piece, who we don't have anyone to link to yet, was Solis. Could be completely unrelated, however, I feel like I should at least mention it. Now, of course, in a game of chess, once the king is checkmated, that's the game over. But real life isn't as simple as that. Deimos is still alive and his threat is still lurking. And if anything, Deimos's capture has just left more questions than answers. Why has a Trojan horse now entered the chess field? If Deimos is the king, then who is the queen? Is simply every recruit a pawn, or are there some hidden figures amongst their ranks? Who knows, this story of chess could even have gone further back than which I have realized. So if you think I've missed something, let me know. Now, Rook, being the alias of a chess piece and our operative, has already shown his impact in this game of chess, like I said, checkmating the king. So I do wonder if the bishop will ever make an appearance on the board and have an impact as well. So although the king has been checkmated and the game should technically be over, that isn't the case, and this game of chess is extending past those boundaries and is still going. Where it could go is anyone's guess, but we are going to definitely see more pieces entering this board. And just like how the gameplay of Rainbow Six Siege is often referred to as a game of chess, so is this conflict occurring in the lore with all these hidden figures. It seems to be as well infiltration and lies, that the introduction of a Trojan horse to the chessboard is much more than just a simple coincidence, and I feel like we are going to be seeing a lot more revolving around that very soon. So I want to extend this conversation to you all in the comments. Do you think I am looking too much into this? Do you think I am connecting dots which shouldn't be connected and this is all simply coincidences? Or do you think there is something bigger happening in this background story with the imagery used with the chess pieces and is giving us hints to what may happen in the future? Regardless, all I can say is that I am beyond excited to see what happens next in the lore. And of course, that mention of Bishop, which doesn't really have much more than the name connection, but would be really fun to see him appear in Rainbow Six Siege lore, even as a playable operator. I think would make a lot of sense, would be very fun. However, one thing I want you to take away from this video is when you're watching more lore content which does come out by Ubisoft, and of course I will be covering all of it, look for these connections, look for what they're doing with these chess pieces. And of course, I may miss stuff, I'm only human, I don't get any insider information, I analyze the same stuff you do, so when you do help me out, it is appreciated because I can overlook stuff. And also, what do you think the relevance of Solis is? Do you think the fact that she had a chessboard in her operator video was simply just because she could maybe use pieces of her utility and that was more of just a reference to her gadget and what it can do? Or do you think it is relevant to these overarching story of chess pieces, and do you think Solis is involved? There has been a bit of discussion on my channel recently that there are potentially some operators who are undercover and are secretly bad, so I wonder what operators that could potentially be, and that could be a really fun twist for the story. But yes, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're new, and I shall catch you all later. I love you all. Stay safe. Peace.